Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 12th edition of Best Says. We are now on Mondays, so we're going to start this week off with the best podcast, clearly, of all YouTube history. I have brought in a guest. Please introduce yourself.
Hi everyone listening. My name is Maid Mama, aka Tiffany. I do variety streaming and I'm from little old Adelaide in South Australia.
And Australia has really been feeling the heat lately.
I'm dying. I literally just burnt my hand outside.
Yeah, before the podcast, we were talking and you decided you were going to try and cook an egg outside on the pavement.
Yep. With like moderate success. I did it on the cold part of the pavement because if I went any further I'd probably get sunburnt. And yeah. I had a person ride by on the bike and I think they nearly crashed because they looked at me and they see this girl in her PJs, like, cooking an egg on her driveway. I had to double take.
Welcome to Australia. We cook the eggs on the pavement. Clearly. So it's been hidden. I've seen up to 50 degrees Celsius, which is about 122 degrees Fahrenheit. What temperatures have you personally experienced?
Today here it's been hitting about 47 to 48 degrees. So 47 degrees Celsius, I believe, for all you people who are in America, is about 116, 117 degrees Fahrenheit. It's hot. Very hot.
If it was me, I would move away from wherever I was if it even got close to 100 degrees. I could not deal with that. Like, 40 degrees Celsius is not something I would want to live anywhere near.
I don't know how I survive. Like, anything above 27 degrees Celsius, which is about 80 degrees Fahrenheit, I begin to, like, die in. And it's, like, double that today. So I'm just like, oh my god, help.
My ideal temperature is, like, 17 to 20 degrees Celsius. That would be my ideal.
Yes, that's a little bit too cold for me. But, like, you know, I like the cold because you can always put on more layers, and also layering looks good. I can put on a shirt and a jumper and another jumper and like 20 scarves. I love scarves, but you can only take off so many clothes before it becomes illegal or Hannibal Lecter.
Exactly.
I can't take off your skin.
Yeah, the heat's hard to deal with it, and I've been with the temperature that's gotten up to 100, but never 116-ish. I couldn't imagine how that feels. I wouldn't want to be there.
It feels like you can cook an egg outside and then burn your hand whilst cooking the egg outside, I'll tell you that.
You know, that actually goes to a good point. I was looking at questions before the podcast, and I seen a question: what simple but delicious meal would you cook if you had to impress someone? Would an egg on the pavement in Australia be your answer?
You know, I could actually, because one of my favorite meals to make is like tamagoyaki, which is like a Japanese sort of rolled egg omelet. But I add mirin and soy sauce, a little touch of brown sugar, and then like little tiny bits of flakes of seaweed. I could like put all that in, and then just generally you need like a big, large, flat surface. I'll just like throw it onto the hood of a car. It'll sizzle it right up, scrape it off, and you got your set.
If you were to go to a different country, where would it be?
Right now, I'd probably Japan, because I love Japan, and it's winter. Well, yeah, it's winter there right now. It's cold. Anywhere that's cold, anywhere that's the opposite of here. Japan.
Maybe you could live in Australia
America.
for a little bit when it's not as hot, and then go to Japan when it's hotter in Australia.
I did do that for a couple years. When it got hot, I went to a different country, and I came back just as if summer was ending, and it was great. But I ain't got that kind of money now.
Yeah, I was about to say, that sounds very expensive to do in the long term.
Yeah, I mean, it's not too bad if you spend thrifty, but after a couple years, you kind of realize that you don't have any savings left, and you're like, oops.
Oops. Didn't mean to spend all my money doing this, but I just really didn't want to be in the hot weather.
Yep, mood, exactly.
So, a question I have to ask about the egg. When it comes to the egg you just cooked or any future eggs cooked on the pavement, will anything be consuming these eggs?
Will anything what? Sorry?
Will anyone be eating these eggs?
No, I would love to have eaten that egg, but by the time I came back to wash it off the pavement, the ants had already gotten to it. God, they're crafty little buggers, aren't they? Just sniffing out the food.
Yeah,
But
they
I'm thinking
found
if
it
I'm
and they got it.
yeah, I'm thinking if I can get away with doing the egg on my husband's car, I'm gonna put like something between the egg and the car, so that way I can eat it.
I
But I don't
somehow
like my
don't think you're going to
chances.
be able to do this.
No, no, I think he's gonna stop me at every chance he gets.
Most likely. You're going to have to wait for him to, like, look away for a few minutes, and then that's your move.
I think he'll lock me out of the house if I do that, and I don't want to be locked out in the heat.
Yeah, this is definitely, apparently, not the weather to be locked outside the house in.
No.
So, a couple episodes ago on the podcast, I talked about China, and from the outside, China looks to be a very controlling place, right? In Australia,
Yeah, yeah.
do y'all have that vibe as well? Does it seem like they're very controlling?
I think it's just like more so personal opinion. Like I remember ages ago seeing that news article where they essentially were having like the system where they had the facial recognition and good deeds would like be rewarded and then like bad deeds or like on deeds that would go against the Chinese government would be like demerits and stuff. And I'm just sitting there thinking, I'm pretty sure I just watched a Black Mirror episode that had this exact same scenario.
And what I covered a few weeks ago was they had these smart uniforms for people in school, and it was to the point where, like, if you fell asleep, it would know, and it would alert. It was either the teachers or your parents. I'm not sure which one's worse in that scenario, but
Okay, that's crazy.
yeah,
I didn't even
when you
know
go
about the
that far.
uniforms.
And today, I found China is launching an app that tells you if you're within 500 yards of someone in debt. And it encourages you to report them if they seem capable of paying up. That's just kind of crazy.
I think that's crazy. Like I remember reading an article on that. That's on their I think WeChat. That's like that's pretty much what they use. We don't like they don't have Facebook and stuff, but they have WeChat. So that's pretty much to say they're just integrating it into their software, I'd imagine. I I think it's a little bit of an invasion of privacy, but at the same time, if like that's in China, that's against the law essentially. I mean, it's not against the law, but it's more or less like it's very taboo. It's sort of like if you see someone here or in America and they're doing something illegal, like I don't know, robbing a bank or like stealing something or I don't know, kicking over trash cans and everything, you generally report it. So I think it's sort of in the same vein of things in that sense. You'd want to report someone who's like doing something wrong, but at the same time, I don't like the idea of having my financial like hardships being broadcast to everyone around me.
Yeah, I feel like the issue is pretty much what you said, the invasion of privacy. And from my perspective, I don't feel like China really cares so much about people's privacy on certain aspects. Especially when you have smart uniforms, surveillance cameras making sure you're not stealing toilet paper, and an app that tracks who's in debt and if you're close to them, so you can report them if you think, just from looking at them, or I guess seeing if they're doing something that makes money, that they should be able to pay the money.
Yeah, see, I think that's and that like preys upon the people who are like unfortunate. Like, so what if I don't make enough money? So what if I'm in debt? If I want to get myself a pumpkin spice frappuccino, I'm allowed to get myself a goddamn pumpkin spice frappuccino, even if I'm in debt. Like, it shouldn't, you know, it shouldn't be. But Nah, we don't have those where I am, so I do want one, and it's very hot.
I haven't had anything like that in like a decade. This isn't something that's ever really been a part of my life. Starbucks, for example, they cost way too much for someone like me to find worth it often. And anytime I feel like I would pay it, I never go. So I avoid
They
that
fail
payment.
here.
Did they?
In my state, yep, in my state they had a whole bunch of Starbucks, but they went out of business because I come from South Australia, Adelaide, and like Adelaide tend to be like a bit of like coffee snobs. And when Starbucks came around, they're like, "Oh, our coffee," and their coffee was shit and overpriced, so nobody went there. So they literally closed down all the Starbucks in South Australia.
Battle to you, Starbucks. You gotta improve your coffee if you're gonna go to a place where people know what they're talking about with their coffee.
Or people like to pretend they know about what they're going on about with their coffee. I mean, I'm a tea drinker, so I don't know either way. But like, yeah,
What is
sayonara,
your preferred
Starbucks.
way to drink tea?
Oh, you have opened up an entire kettle of fish. I have about 50 different flavors of tea sitting in my kitchen right now, so that's a fun
Oh.
one. I have a lot of different teas. It honestly depends on my mood, but I think like my favorite way to drink tea, and I'm gonna set the mood here, is like it's like you can smell rain on the air. You can hear thunder rolling in. You're just sitting on a couch or somewhere, like with a blanket around you, with like a cup of milky tea. I know some people don't like putting milk in their tea, but a nice hearty black tea, very strong with milk and just a couple, like one sugar, maybe 1.5 teaspoons of sugar. I like that. Just a little bit of niceness to it.
Yeah, I feel like the diversity in your tea selections is apparently you have dozens and dozens and dozens of options. I
Oh
feel
yeah.
like I would appreciate the options. One day I may not want this, but hey, I have this to go to. This is kind of the vibe of the day, and I'll just get this. That sounds like a pretty good way to do things.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely drink less of them in summer, even though I have like a number of different teas, and they're all like fruit teas and teas that are made to be made cold. But the effort of making the hot tea and then waiting for a couple hours for it to be cold in the fridge, I'm just like, effort.
Well, if you want hot tea, you can just put the tea outside.
Yeah, I could just put the tea outside.
That's just the way to go, apparently, right now. I feel like for me, like, I just drink Dr. Pepper and I just drink normal Dr. Pepper. Anytime I, like, branch out and I get one of the other flavors, like, I'll drink a couple, but
Wait,
when
wait,
it
wait, wait,
comes.
wait, 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 wait. There's more than one flavor of Dr. Pepper?
Yeah, they have different. They have like cherry Dr. Pepper, cherry vanilla. They do a limited time offer here in America, vanilla float. I don't drink
Wow.
diet or the 10 calorie thing or anything like that. I don't like diet drinks, but
If I want a can of Dr. Pepper, I gotta pay $5 for it.
$5. That's absurd.
Well, we don't have it here. It's an import drink.
Why don't they have them there? They should be everywhere.
Come to Australia, everyone.
It's just like McDonald's. Like, if McDonald's is not in a place, like, I don't eat McDonald's, but isn't their thing being everywhere?
Yeah, we have McDonald's everywhere here. McDonald's is everywhere.
Yeah, you'd assume so. So why is something like Dr. Pepper not getting that reach? They need to work their game up.
I don't know, I remember drinking it a lot as a kid. I remember we used to have it as like when I was a kid, and then it just stopped coming. But I was too young to realize that.
I couldn't
I think
imagine
the
if,
Australian
like,
government decided it was
one
too
month.
sugary.
Too sugary. That's probably a
I
fair
don't
point.
know.
Let me look at this can. This can for a serving size of a can is 12 fluid ounces, 355 milliliters. Hopefully one of those measurements work for Australia.
Yeah, the millimeters. Yeah,
Yeah.
milliliters.
40 grams of sugar in one can.
See, that's a lot.
It
But
is.
it's not. It's not like any different to like a can of Coke, which I think has like 40 I think it's like 38 or 42. And I drink flavored milk. So that's like, I don't drink soft drink, but I do drink like a flavored milk called funny fact about my state as well, South Australia. We're the only state in the world, to my current knowledge, that a milk drink outsells Coke.
That is very impressive.
And I'm drinking it right now, and it's Farmers Union iced coffee. But that has like a lot of sugar in it. That's like, I think that's like 50 grams of sugar per 600 mils. I have no idea what that is in fluid ounces because, we use the metric system.
See, I'm not sure how I feel about America being so stubborn to be like, pretty much the rest of the world uses a different system, but us in like 2 smaller places in the world, we use this system still. Why don't we move to what everyone else is using and just make it simpler for everyone?
Yeah, I don't know. Like when I was in America, this was like a number of years ago now. They were teaching. I remember because I was dating an American at the time. His younger brother, he was learning. He was learning both in the school. I remember because he was asking me to help him with his homework for the metric system. And I pretty much explained it to him that it goes from like 1 to 10 to 100 to 1,000. And he's like, oh, wait, that's really easy. And I was like, yeah. He's like, why aren't we using that? And I was like, I don't know. You're the Americans.
Yeah, I don't get it. I think a lot of people in America don't understand why we still use the system we use. I feel like most people, I'm sure certain people, like if Moriarty watches this, I'm sure he'll support the way America does their system. He'll probably want to keep to the system. But I feel like most people would want to change and do what everyone else is doing.
I think it's just at the end of the day, it's up to like the new generations to like push forward for that change because that's how all change is made. Generally, like it's either a big movement of like a newer generation coming and being like, hey, maybe this thing you're doing is wrong, or something breaks. And the metric system, like no, the imperial system isn't broken; it's just outdated. So it's not gonna break anything, but people are gonna have to be like, what are you doing?
Very true. Very, very true. And like with Celsius versus Fahrenheit, it's like I've heard people explain why one is better than the other, but none of them, if you think about it, you can explain both of them in a way that makes sense, but at the same time, neither of them really make sense.
Pretty much. Like I think do correct me if I'm wrong because again I'm not very familiar with the imperial system, but like the Celsius system is based on like freezing point for I think water it is. So like water freezes at 0 degrees and water can boil at 100 degrees. So it's sort of set like that. But the imperial system I think is based on the human body. Is that correct or am I just spouting bullshit?
I may live in America and I work under this system, but it's been years since I've ever heard why we use the system we use, and I did not pay enough attention in school to know that from memory.
Alright, so we can just pretend that I'm just spouting nonsense and that works.
No, I say we should just assume you're 100% correct. You know how it works.
Let's not assume I'm 100% correct because things will break.
Hey, worst case scenario, we eat eggs off the pavement.
My pavement eggs are delicious, thank you very much. They are seasoned with
they
the
are.
highest quality dirt.
I don't know if that's the sales pitch you want to use if you make a business out of these eggs, but who knows? I don't live in your market. Maybe your market would prefer some seasoning with dirt.
Sure, it's a delicacy somewhere.
I'm sure it has to be somewhere. Probably in the desert.
Yep.
Is there really that big of a difference right now between where y'all are at and a desert?
Yeah, like because when everyone thinks of Australia, they think it's just one giant desert and that we all have pet kangaroos and stuff. I do tell people I used to have a pet kangaroo because I did. I think it throws them for a bit of a loop. But it's not a desert. We have rolling hills. Granted, those rolling hills are all filled with like brown dead dirt right now, but still, I'm in the city. I'm on the coastline, so like pretty much, I think 90% of Australia's population is all along the coastline. Because if you're in the desert, well, it's gonna be
Yeah,
hotter than it is now.
every friend I have that lives in Australia, I've never seen any of them in any picture I've ever seen of them indicate they live anywhere near any desert part of Australia.
Because you'd be crazy to.
I would imagine so. Like, where y'all are at right now seems hot enough. Why would you want to go deeper into that?
I mean, Cooper Pedy, which is pretty much like at the center of the Australian desert. It's a mining town. They all live pretty much underground there.
Underground is probably better than up top if it's as hot as it could be there.
Yeah, my uncle used to live there, and he lived in like a little tiny underground place. He said it was really nice. Like, I feel like I should have questioned him, but at the time I was like a moody teenager, so my interest in the matter was not there. My interest was trying to finish my game. Or
You should have
not being part
questioned
of the
him and be like,
conversation.
how much like a fallout shelter did you live in?
Oh, that's what I wish I knew. But like because he was underground and he had plumbing. And like they had electricity, but the electricity was via a power generator, so it wasn't like on the grid or anything. It was just a generator. So I would imagine be somewhat Fallout-esque, just without the super mutants and the ghouls.
Rad roaches.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, rad roaches get pretty big in Australia sometimes. I wouldn't call them rad roaches, but I'd call them big. Insert swear word here. Roaches. Big ass roaches.
I don't like bugs at all. Ladybugs are the smallest bugs. Well, one of the smallest bugs that can be pests here. But I don't know where they're coming in from my bathroom, but I literally vacuum out dozens of ladybugs during the winter season out of my bathroom. And I have to close that door at all times and close my room door because my room is right beside my bathroom. Because I don't want the ladybugs to be in my room. I don't want to deal with that. I don't like bugs. I don't like dealing with bugs. They make me paranoid. And I can't focus on something if I'm dealing with a bug.
Oh, my old house used to be sort of the same because we had like it's an old house, but like instead of ladybugs, it was spiders.
You know, my only problem with spiders is like, of course they make me paranoid too, but generally they're on the walls. They're not just roaming around. Well, some do, some don't. I've been bitten by 2 poisonous spiders in the last 10 years. Both on my left hand on different fingers.
That sounds like it would hurt.
See, I never experienced any pain from the bite itself, but like afterwards, when it's trying to heal and you're trying to put stuff on it and stuff, then you can feel a little bit of pain. But like, I don't know what it is, because it's not like I've been bitten by a spider in the same location. I've moved in that 10 years, and I still got bit on the same hand, just a different finger. I can't catch a break, and I never find these spiders. They bite me when I'm asleep, I assume, and they just run away.
I feel like I should just keep quiet about how many times I've been bitten by spiders, because I don't want to be like one-upping everything. I'd be like, oh yeah, you have ladybugs, and I have spiders. Oh, 2 times. Oh, that's nice. So all the times I've been bitten. But no.
How many times have you been bitten by spiders?
Oh god, I don't know. Give me a time frame.
In the last 5 years.
5 years? Oh my god, I don't know. More than 20?
Every time you get bitten by a spider, do you check to see if you're the next Spider Woman?
No, generally I swear and then spend the next hour chasing the spider to seek vengeance on it and to make sure it's not a venomous spider. 9 out of 10 times it's not, and it's fine.
Wait, when you get bitten by spiders, you actually find the spider?
Yeah!
Man,
I'm gonna bite it back!
I never
Or maybe
find the
not.
spider that bit me. I would crush that sucker so hard, and then I just stomp on it a
Well,
few
you're
times
not
just so
looking
I feel
hard
better.
enough.
Apparently not. But at the same time, I don't want to look for the spider because that's gonna freak me out and make me paranoid.
Like generally, I'm a very big advocate of leave the poor spiders alone. So if they bite me, they're going down. And also if they're venomous. Like there's one time when I was like lying in bed, I was playing a Switch. I was having the time of my life. And then like a redback spider, which I think you guys call them black widows. It is a black widow in the black widow family. Crawled across my hand. And I was not having that. It didn't bite me, thankfully, but I was not having that. It was like, oh, the size of like, okay, you know, like a bottle of water. It
Yes.
was about the size of a bottle of the cap to that bottle of water. That's the best way I can probably describe. So it was a big bastard. And I was like, nope. And I sprung out of bed. I freaked out. And then I ripped off all my sheets. This is about 2 a.m., by the way. So I'm like trying to find a spider. I cannot find it anywhere. And when I do find it, I'm like, excellent. So I run out, get the fly spray, come back, and I douse this thing in the spray. Like I completely douse. This thing just runs off. And I was like, oh hell no. So I got a lighter and I made a mini flamethrower. And I aimed it at the spider, and the spider still survived. And it ran off somewhere else. And I think I tried looking for it for the next 20 minutes after that, and then I decided that I was not going to sleep in the room tonight because I had an indestructible spider. Oh wait, no, that's right. I also remember I tried hitting it with like the shoe, and it still survived. And at that point, I was like, this spider is indestructible. I am sleeping in the lounge room.
If this was Fallout, this would be like a boss spider.
Yeah, it was just oh.
I would not. I wouldn't be able to sleep in that room. Not until the spider was dealt with.
Fun fact about Australian summer: that's when all the spiders come out. This happened last year in summer, I think in February. So counting down the days to February until the bastard comes back for vengeance.
Man, that's something that would never... Anytime I hear about Australia, it ends up being, oh, we have all these different bugs that would make you freak out. And I'm just like, I don't think I could go here.
But just 90% of the bugs. Sure, we have a lot of spiders and a lot of bugs, and you know the most poisonous spiders and like there's most venomous spiders that it like concentrated in the world and stuff. But like, they're not gonna hurt you. 9 out of 10 times, I don't care. But like, if they come within my personal body space, I'm going to go after the venomous ones. Like,
see, for me personally,
do what you want. Just stay away from me.
My personal feelings on where bugs and spiders can be within, I feel like they should have to obey the same laws that a human does. You cannot trespass in my home. I am sorry. I understand you want a warmer place to be right now, but no. No, nowhere near me. No. Go outside, find someone that'll take you in. This is not the home for you. You're trespassing.
But see, I like the big spiders, because generally the really big spiders, they're not the poisonous ones, and then they're hunters. So they'll hunt for the other spiders, and then they'll kill all the other spiders, and then you can just have a nice relationship. It'll pay rent in the form of, I don't know, loose change, and we'll be fine. We'll be laughing. Happy times.
Very
forever.
fair. If you can make an ally out of a spider to deal with the other spiders, that is a good technique. It's the same way if you make an ally with a cat so it can chase a mouse. This is a technique.
My cat is too lazy to chase mice.
Hopefully you haven't been abusing your cat anymore, since the one time I showed up on your stream and you abused the cat.
No, I was giving it kisses. I have two though. The kitten would most definitely chase the mouse. The kitten, she gets rid of all the flies and the flying insects around the house. She also eats a few earwigs. She eats anything that moves, including just anything that moves.
But she's still young and feeling all the energy.
Oh yeah. The other cat,
eventually that'll go away.
The other cat's like 12. She's allowed to be lazy. She's earned her right.
Yep. Lived a long, hard life and just ready to retire.
I love my cat.
See, I really like cats. Like, my neighbor has a cat. We don't have any pets, personally. That I live with two other people, and they don't want pets, so we don't have any pets. But, uh, my neighbor has cats, and they're outside a lot, and so they'll just be sleeping on our porch. And I go outside to take out the trash or something, and of course, one of them, the youngest one, it'll always freak out and it'll run away. But then, like, the oldest one, it doesn't care anymore. It'll just walk up to you and want you to pet. And I love cats. I want to pet a cat one day.
Oh, if my landlord let me, I'd have at least 4. We've got 2. And we had to, like, my husband, I love my husband. He essentially guilt tripped the landlord into giving me into getting us another cat, because like I was actually quite upset at the time and stuff, and he pretty much wrote like a long heartfelt like message to the landlord saying, oh, my wife isn't going to have a good time, and she just wants something to love, and getting another cat would do that and would make her feel better. And I was like, oh my god, husband, what are you doing? You can't guilt trip the landlord. He's like, we got another cat, didn't we? I'm like, yeah, but oh my gosh.
Good husband move. You got the second cat, so I don't think that trick will work to get you 4 cats, but you got 2 cats.
I mean, my trick of trying to get another 2 cats that look just like the cats we have could work, but he thinks that like people would be smarter than that, and they probably would be. But one can
Well,
dream.
that's the thing. You have to get identical looking cats, or at least close enough looking cats, and then when they show up, you just hide 2 of the cats.
Just our cats move quickly. You don't even have to hide them, because they can be like, oh, they'll check our bedroom, be like, oh, look, there's the cat, and then they'll go into lunch and be like, oh, wasn't the cat just in the bedroom? Oh yeah, it ran into here. Did you not notice?
You look away for a second and it's just gonna go elsewhere, Sometimes it just feels the desire to go elsewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
I just love how laid back most cats are, and even when they get super riled up, I've only met one cat that was a jerk, and it was a cat my grandmother had gotten from the wild and rescued, so the assumption was that cat was probably traumatized in some way, so it was never really friendly with people. It would scratch anyone that tried to pet her. And, like, even after a decade of someone owning her, she wants to play by being very aggressive. That wouldn't be the ideal cat for me.
Yeah, no, my cat, like, it's like, fun fact, well, not fun fact, sad fact about my oldest cat. Her nickname is Sharkbait, and there's a reason why she has the nickname Sharkbait. Is because, the house that she was in before we liberated her, was going to use her as actual live shark bait. She had a hook in her mouth, and she had like I think a broken tailbone or something. Like her back legs were like she couldn't walk properly because of it. And yeah, we pretty much, well, my friend mostly like this at the time pretty much took her from the house, and I kept her. So she just
That
really doesn't like strangers. She gets into the mood where she'll like be wary. And if they're sitting on the couch, she'll go sit on the couch and she'll be like, oh, I love sitting on this lap. But then the moment you try and touch her, she'll be like, "Meow, meow."
Yeah, I feel like that's very justifiable behavior from the cat. Like, that cat dealt with some major shit that you wouldn't want to deal with. So, any
And then she licks
paranoia
my
on that
face.
cat's part is justified.
Yeah.
Eh,
And she licks my face.
yeah, once the cat knows that this is friend isn't gonna hurt me, you get all the love.
Oh, yeah.
So, when it comes to Spotify, they are going to soon allow people to mute and block artists. They've been testing this for a while. I don't play this artist feature. And it lets you block an entire artist from playing songs from that artist whenever come up in your library playlist, blah, blah, blah. and it also works, but not if it's like, okay, this song is by this
Featuring the
person,
artist, yeah.
featured by that person. They don't have it worked out that way. And for me,
That'd be a
like,
bit hard though, I think.
yeah, I think that'd be very difficult, and I don't think you'd want to implement that as part of the block. I feel like if someone is a side cast in a song, you can deal with that more, and maybe you'll like them in that role. Like, I've experienced that where I may not like a certain artist, but I'll see them in a song by someone else and they play a smaller role, and I can like it a lot more.
Yeah, I think the major thing that came about of that was the whole like, you know, blocking artists who people don't want to support anymore due to various reasons in the media. Like I think I don't want to name names, but like, you know, certain artists who like have
Yep.
like been like pinged for like harassment and assault and other things like that. You know, and people don't want to don't want to support those artists in any medium. I can fully understand that because I'd be in the same vein. Like I've had people artists that I've sort of liked, and when I found out that they're like a really really crappy person, I'm like, well, I'm not gonna fund your crappiness.
See, for
So like, I
me,
think,
when it
yeah,
comes to the feature, I I'm gonna use that mute feature a lot because I have the free Spotify. I don't pay for the Spotify to get the extra version that allows you more freedom in song selection. So
yeah, I
for
don't have
me,
the paid version either.
that mute feature, I'm gonna use that so often. Cause like if I want to play someone's album, I just want to hear their songs. Like I understand the appeal of, okay, we're gonna give you music kind of like it by other people, but at the same time, I I'd rather just listen to the album I want to listen to and not what you
Yeah.
think I want to listen to. That's why I mainly use YouTube for my music. Like it may be a bit more of a pain to get individual songs, but at least I know I'm listening to what I want to listen to in the order I want to listen to with no worries. I don't have to worry about Spotify ads that say they're 30 seconds, but they're really like 45 seconds.
I had that once. There was a Spotify ad, and it was like, oh, it's a 30-second ad. And I don't like, I think I fell into some kind of weird time warp. I'm like, but I swear the ad was like 5 minutes long. I swear I'm sitting there listening to the ad. I'm like, oh yeah. And then I'm like, hang on, is this still the ad? And it was still the ad.
Yeah,
I was like, what
Spotify
the
ads
shit?
can just feel super long, and some of them I don't think they're as short as they say they are. Not at all.
Oh no, not at all. Definitely longer.
Like I support anyone that wants to put ads on content like YouTube or Spotify or whatever. That you have to support the platform with ads, but at the same
That's also
time,
how they make their living.
yeah. At the same time, though, be honest with how long this ad is, and don't mislead me and be like, okay, this is just a 30-second ad. Okay, just quickly listen to it. Like, if it's a 2-minute ad, just tell me. I'll go get a drink and come back, and then the ad will be done.
Yeah.
It gives you that opportunity to step away from a moment, take off your headphones or whatever, and come back in a couple minutes. That would be my ideal.
I think like it's a bit of a hard call because like I feel like in this day and age we are completely inundated with ads. Like you can't look at a website, you can't step out the house, you can't go for a walk, you can't even go for a walk listening to your own music without being inundated with ads. And I don't like that part about that advertisement. I think advertisement is being a little bit too like space invading. Like you know, you had the Futurama episodes where they're like beam the ads directly into your head, and they're all like, "Oh, ha, ha, that's funny." I'm like, "Well, it's already happening.
Pretty
It's already
much.
there." But like at the same time, it's like, but they support me, myself, and my own content creation. They support people I like enjoy watching and participating in. So it's a real bit of a catch-22. And also, like, you know, 20 years ago, we didn't have half the stuff we had, so ads didn't have the chance to be everywhere. They gotta have a chance to block them at some point. I went on a tangent then about advertising.
But yeah, as you were saying, like now we all have phones, we all have TVs, and this allows most people watch so many ads a day and they don't even realize how many ads a day they're watching. They may think, oh, I don't really watch ads, but if you actually kept up with how many ads you watch in a day, that number is going to be way higher than you think it is.
Oh yeah, for sure. Oh, we
And
should do that
even
one
if
day. Like
that's
just
not a video ad, maybe it's like a Spotify audio ad or it's just a picture, you know?
yeah, or
The
like
many
picture of
forms
a
of
clickbait
advertising.
articles and
Yes, clickbait articles and all that fun.
I want to do that as an experiment one day. I would like to know, like, I want to like try and like sit there and count every single ad I see in the one day because I do a lot of work on the computer. My job, like, I've got two jobs. One job is like advertising through demonstration services. The other job is like my Twitch streaming and social media stuff and writing articles and workshops and all that other stuff. And that's all on the computer. So the amount of ads I would see in a day would be intense.
And I bet you don't even think about it most of the time.
I don't. It gets to the point where you think about it and like I don't even realize the ads are on. I just let the ads play through because it's just such a common part of your day that you don't register that they're ads. And that's a little bit scary.
At the same time, though, it's just like, I feel like once you get old enough, I feel like most young people, it's like, man, screw ads. I don't want to deal with ads. Let me get an ad blocker. I don't want to deal with this. And then when you're older and you realize what the ads are for and why ads are important, I feel like most
Yeah.
people just go into this, watch the ad. It isn't going to kill me. It's just like 30 seconds, hopefully. Maybe it's just a picture or whatever. As long as it isn't ruining my experience overall. Like, some websites have ads that ruin the website. That's a thing.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Especially the
But if
ones
it's
that pop
just,
up.
yeah, the pop ups, they're awful. But if it's just like a normal advertisement thing, it's just like, okay, I feel like most people can accept that. This is how
Hmm.
people make their living.
Yeah, exactly. Like I mean, when I was younger I used to always have ad blocker, but I think for the past I don't know, 3 or 4 years, I just don't use ad blocker anymore. Because I've gotten to the point where I'm like, well, I want to support the people I enjoy. And I think a lot of people forget that. Like, interrupt me if I'm going on too much of a tangent because I go on tangents all the time. Going on tangents is my livelihood. But like, I was at like I was doing a talk at a primary school the other day, and like I was saying to them, I said to them, "Oh, how many people you guys watch like Fruits or Ninja because it's they're kids. Fortnite is what they do." And I think like pretty much the entire class put their hand up. And I said, oh, okay, so how many of you use ad blocker or like some form of like blocking an ad blocking program? And again, they all nearly pretty much all of them put their hands up. And I was like, did you know that you're taking money away from your favorite people by doing that? And they were like, oh, really? And then I had to explain to them the concept of like ad revenue and like had the like, even though it's an annoying thing, and I personally don't think kids should be as subjected to ads as much as they are. But like, for like people who want to, because it was a content creation class. It was a class of like how like people who wanted to get into content creation and stuff. I'm like, if you want to get into this stuff, you gotta like, you gotta do the right thing. Support the people who support you, sort of thing.
Absolutely.
I think a lot of people don't realize how important things like that are to like mediums. Like, and that's why all these things have so many ads because they're free. That's how they pay for it. Like Facebook's free because of all the ads. Twitch is free because of all the ads. YouTube is free because of all the ads. Um, Twitter. I don't know about Twitter ads. I don't see many ads on Twitter, and I don't use other socials, so I don't know about the other social medias.
You've been getting more into Twitter, though, from what I've been seeing. You're getting more into Twitter.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. I'm definitely trying to like utilize Twitter more because like Twitter is like one of those things where it's so easy to like get in contact with people and it's so much easier than Facebook. Because I used to use like, I don't use like my Facebook. I pretty much have on in the background for like as a chat and that's it. I don't really. I think I was looking at the other day and the last status I updated was like 2 weeks ago. The time before that was like 3 weeks ago, and I was like, wow, I don't go on Facebook much, do I? People must be wondering what I'm doing.
Yeah, I feel like for me, like I use Discord as my main way of communicating with people and telling people about what I'm doing. But like Twitter is a fun way to just engage with people and then the occasional post something about what you're up to and all this fun stuff. Of course,
And live
promote what you're
stream
currently
cooking
doing,
eggs.
YouTube, Twitch wise. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Cooking the eggs, you always gotta cook the eggs on a Twitter stream. That's the preferred way, I feel.
I like how, like, I'm just quickly looking at it now, like the live stream I did about cooking the egg on the pavement. You can tell who the Australians are because the Australians are like, oh, you should have done it on the car. Why weren't you doing it on the car? It needs to be on metal, etc., etc. And then everyone else is just like, then I've got one person going, oh, you need to put a frying pan outside in the sun for 30 minutes and then a touch of oil or butter and another 5 minutes, crack an egg, and you'll get some nice results when cooking outside. Like, you can tell that the Australians have all done this before. And they're all like, why are you doing it in the shade? Because I did it in the shade. And the reason why I did it in the shade is because I didn't, like, I don't have sunblock on. I'm wearing, like, a tank top and flip-flops.
Not
And
ideal weather.
in not ideal weather. And I was very tempted to go out into the middle of the road. But, like, if I did that, the guy who, remember how I said the guy who was riding the bike? He would have rode straight through my egg.
And then you would
And he
not
would
want to
have
have
given me
ate
a
it at
weird
all.
look. Then I wouldn't have had egg at all. But it was interesting how I went outside, and when I went to like clean it up, it was like I didn't have to clean it up too much because it had already, because like it in the live stream we didn't get to see it cook all that much because even though it is like, I don't know, 46 degrees, so it's like 120 degrees Fahrenheit, I think we said, that's still not quite hot enough to cook an egg straight away. But like it was bubbling and it began to cook, and I was so excited. And then I went to wash it away. I went inside, got some water, came back. And like I wish I was still live streaming it because like it actually began to look like a fried egg. Like it had actually know how a fried eggs. And I was like, why am I not live streaming this? And I felt like I couldn't turn it back on quickly, be like, oh my god, look at this now, because then people be like, oh, you just cooked it in the fry pan and took it outside. Please, I don't have that kind of effort. But I can understand why people would think that.
You had up to 9 people watching at one point during the egg thing.
Oh, I looked at it and it said max total viewers was like 13, and I was like,
oh man.
Why?
Yeah. When you said you wanted to do it, Twitter was the best way to do it. I knew people would enjoy it, and I feel like that was definitely... It was entertaining.
Yeah. I definitely want to do it again.
Yes.
But like with better results. I mean, depending on how long this goes for, even after this, I might quickly have to run outside and I'll put some moisturizer and some sunblock on, and then I'll try and figure out a way. Maybe I'll put like a fry pan out there and wait for that and do what my friend said, just cook. Oh, I can put the fry pan on the car.
Yeah, put the frying pan on top of the car and cook it that way.
Oh yeah, I'm doing that. Alright, I'm gonna do that, and I'll live stream
I don't think your husband can complain too much about that idea. It doesn't involve the car getting hit with the egg.
And I can eat the egg after. It's a win-win.
Yes, exactly. This is the perfect idea. I'm glad we thought of this.
I'm glad that he can't hear me.
Oh, is he far enough away that this idea is not going in his radar?
Oh, he's playing a Magic the Gathering tournament at the moment.
Ooh. See, that's what I was saying earlier. You just gotta wait for him to be distracted and quickly make your move.
Oh yeah.
So, you can get rid of all your debt by going to jail for 1 day per $1,000 owed. I don't know what that would be in Australia. I should've did the check that beforehand. But you must go to jail for your entire debt, no partial time, and you cannot prepay by staying in jail longer than you have debt owed. Would you do this, and why?
I suppose it depends on the jail. I don't know so much about Australian jail systems. I know more about American jail systems, funnily enough, than I do Australian ones. But like jail is a dangerous place. Like it depends, because like if some jails, you get fucked. Oh, bleep that out. You get messed up. after like staying there for like just a day. But like I think honestly it depends on what kind of jail I was sent to. If I was sent to a jail for that was like fairly minimal sort of security jail, one that wasn't like privately owned, because the privately owned jails are really the ones that mess you up because they're not nice. And if I was in a section where I know I'd be safe ish, I'd almost do it, because these days jail isn't like you get 3 square meals a day, and like I mean my debt is I think not much. I think I'm only at about 2K debt, so it'd be 2 days, 3 days at
2 days
most.
in jail. Yeah.
But like if it was any more than that, I don't think I could, because like if like and a lot of people, if you have like if you only have like in here you have holding cells. So if you're in jail for like less than like 2 or 3, like if less than I think 3 or 4 days, so like 1 or 2 days, you're literally just in an overnight holding cell. You're not gonna get like put into the system and into the whole everything else. You're just in a holding cell for a few days and that's it. So if that was all I had to do, then I would do it. And also, it depends. Like, is this gonna be on your permanent record? Like, if you go to apply a job, is it gonna say that you served jail time?
That is a good point. Huh. I feel
Because
like
that's
it would
you older in the
probably.
long run.
Yeah, I feel like even if it was like, oh, this person went to jail as a way to pay debt, I somehow think an employer down the road is not gonna like that.
No, because then you're gonna have the fact that you have had debt, and employers are gonna be like, "Oh, you can't manage your funds."
Exactly. That. See, for me, I am 5'4" and a little bit overweight. I don't think I am the ideal candidate to go to jail. So I would not take this deal. I was the kind of person in high school that, for whatever reason, I was good at just by being myself, I guess. I don't know what it was. I sincerely don't know what it was. But dudes would just. They'd want to fight me, but none of them actually would. And I feel like I wouldn't want to risk that happening in jail.
Oh yeah, for sure. I wouldn't survive. As I said, if it was an overnight holding cell, because you'd be on your own then. You just be on your own for like 24 to 48 hours. I'd do it because it's a holding cell. But if it was an actual jail where you would be put into the system and all that stuff, I wouldn't. I'm
Yeah.
small. I'm short.
Yeah, we're not the ideal candidates to be in
No.
the system. We're not going to be able to protect ourselves if something bad happens.
My sister's got mad guns. She'd be able to punch out anyone who came near her, but I know I wouldn't.
Oh boy. Then maybe you want her as a bodyguard.
Just get her to serve her debt with me at the same time.
Exactly. Make it a 2-person package.
Sounds good.
What is a video game that you still play regularly despite it being really old, and what keeps you coming back to it?
Oh, that would have to be one of my favorite games ever. It actually is my favorite game. It's called Lufia 2: Rise of the Sinstrels, and it's on the Super Nintendo. And I think I can't keep coming back for nostalgia purposes. Like every now and again, I'll just sort of think about the game. I'll be like, I want to play this game. So, bring out the old CRT and hook it all up and give it a play. And then I'll play it for like a couple weeks until I finish it and finish. There's this one part, and it's like called it's like a level 99 dungeon floor. And a lot of new games have this like sort of thing too now, I've noticed. But like it's my first experience with a game like that, where despite your progress throughout the entire game, you enter this dungeon and it strips you of everything. So you start off with level 1, no weapons, no magic, no armor, no nothing. And you have to go through from dungeon level 1 to level 99 and get through it all without without dying. And at the very end, there's a boss. And you have to beat the boss in 3 moves. And if you don't beat the boss in 3 moves, you lose the entire thing.
Oh boy.
So it's super hard, but I love it so much. I think that's one of the things that keeps getting me back to it, because and it wasn't until and I've had this game since I was 11, and it wasn't until a couple years ago that I finally beat that dungeon. Mostly because I looked up online on how to do it.
That's the modern way to do something. If you can't do it, look up how to do it online and then do it. And then you're a winner.
Yeah, they gave like I did it the cheaty way. There's like a sort of like a loophole way, and then there's a proper way. I did it the loophole way first, so I could see what happens, and then I went and did it the proper way.
See, for me, like, my answer to this question, I don't think there's a proper answer to this question. Like, the games I currently play, I don't play many games because I
Yeah,
want to be fresh when I begin streaming, hopefully at the end of this year, maybe next year, once I get moved. And that's an option for me because I'm currently mobile exclusive. I want to stream all these games, so I don't play many games because I don't want it ruined for me. And the main
yeah.
games I play is like a Fallout 3, a Fallout New Vegas, Fallout 4, Skyrim,
I
something you can
love
pour,
Fallout and Skyrim. Yeah,
yeah,
I still
something you can
haven't
pour
like
dozens of hours into.
as much as I love both Fallout and Skyrim. Still haven't finished the storylines of those games, no matter how many hours I put in. Because whenever I do like get back to it, I think, oh, I want to start a new character and start a new run. Or I'll be like, you know what, I feel like doing a mage character, so I'll start with a mage. Or I'll be like, oh, I feel like doing a thief, so I'll do a thief. Oh, I feel like doing, so I'll just keep on restarting over and over and over and over again, and then I just
I
never
know this
finish it.
struggle. This is a struggle I
Fallout
deal with all the
4.
time.
I'm almost finally getting to the end of that one. Like, I think I'm up to the point where you go into the, like, I'm not going to go into details, even though I'm pretty sure 90% of the people listening to this right now have played it and probably beaten it. But I've
Yep.
finally gotten to the point where you're, like, beginning to infiltrate the Institute. And
Yes.
it's like, I've had the game for years and years and years, and I've done all the side quests, and I've completed all the Minutemen quests, I've completed all the other quests, but I haven't quite done that. Just never got up to that point because I just got distracted with everything else. And now I've been gifted the DLC from like a viewer, and
Ooh.
I don't think I'm ever gonna finish the game. I should really get back into it. I think like January is a hard month for me for streaming. I mean, at the same time, I've only been streaming for less than a year, like literally less than a year. But it's just been so hot that you can't sit at the computer, and when you do sit at the computer, you can't concentrate on things. So I've been playing like really like basic games like Katamari or like Pokemon because you don't have to concentrate. Whereas I feel like Fallout, I don't want to miss out on the storyline or anything. And I already miss out on that sort of stuff a lot as is when I'm fully coherent in whether that's not trying to kill me.
Yeah, I feel like when it comes to games, I feel like most games are overpriced at like the American standard is like $60 for a new game. I don't feel most games are worth $60. Yeah, y'all have it worse. I know y'all have it worse. But
try 120 for a new game.
yeah, I just feel like you have to find a Skyrim or a Fallout game for that price to be worth it to me.
Yeah, but I think
Most
like
games, definitely not.
I find this is the way I usually like try and compare it to like for like for instance a movie ticket in Australia to go see a movie is anywhere between $10 to $20 depending on what movie theater you go to. So I'm gonna average it out to $15. If I go see a movie for $15, and that takes about anywhere between 1.5 to 2.5 hours. So that's how I sort of rate. It's a silly way to rate the worth of things. So that's how I rate it. So if I play a game and I paid like $60 for it, I go, okay, that's 4 movies worth. So if I can play that game for more than 4 movies worth of hours, then that's worth it to me. Is that a weird way to look at things? I feel like
No,
everyone's
I think
judging
that
me.
system makes a lot of sense. It's why like a Skyrim or a Fallout works for me. I'm gonna spend hundreds of hours playing the game, and and it's gonna take me like 1,000 hours to beat the game because they keep switching the new characters. Because honestly, one of my favorite parts of an RPG like that is character customization. I really enjoy that process.
Yeah, me too.
And
That's what like and like I've just
I
recently gotten
spend
a computer. Yeah,
I spend
yeah. Go
hours
on.
looking at a character, and
Yeah,
then I'm like, I really would like to change this and this, but I'd like to do it. I'd like to play the whole game a different way. So I make a new character, and there you go. And then we rinse and repeat the cycle.
you just never get into the game. They just, you know what? I reckon if we had a game which was just purely character customization and nothing else, but like you could import that character into like, for instance, let's just say Ubisoft or Bethesda created a character creation game where everything was customizable. The voice, like every tiny minute detail that all these places already sort of do. To the like I mean like down to like the way that they walk and their mannerisms and everything else. And then that would be a great game. And then you could import that into like different games. For instance, you could import like you could make a thief with a stutter and who always is cleaning their fingernails in their still animations, you know, when you have like your still shot and the characters just sort of stand there staring into blank nothingness. Instead, they'd like do their mannerisms, so they'd pick their nails or they'd like fidget or anything like that. And you can import that into other games, like, you know, your Fallout, your Skyrim, your Far Cry, whatever. You could put it all into that, and it'd be awesome.
That would
I'd
be
pay for that.
amazing. Like, for me, while you were saying that, I was thinking, man, I would love to be able to, like, put my Blue Yeti on the PS4 and be like, let me say a few lines, and I want that to be my character's catchphrases throughout the game, and just give me the option to say one of them occasionally.
I mean, I think they could do that because they can give you the option of, okay, well, these are all the lines, all the voice, all the lines that your character's going to say. But then the only issue with that is you're going to get spoilers because you're going to be reading out the script.
True, very true. Or you can just have generic responses to things and just be like, oh, would you like to save so-and-so? Nah, I'm good. And your character just walk away. That would not be how you'd want to play any Telltale game. Rest in peace, Telltale. I still miss Telltale. I wish that they would never have gone down.
Yeah, I mean, you could see it happening though. The games were like being pushed out way too quickly, and the quality would be getting to drop because of it. And like you could sort of see it happening, but it is quite sad because those games are nice. I like the whole even though it was the illusion of choice. I still like that illusion of choice.
Yeah, I mean, there's no game. People will say, oh, The Witcher, oh, this game or this game. They give me choices that matter, but at the same time, your choices only matter so much in any game.
Yeah,
You're never
exactly.
going to have a situation where your choice is going to branch down a million different paths, and you're going to make another choice that branches down a million different paths. It's going to be the same, like, 100 or 1,000 choices. And I feel like, what's the big difference between that and what Telltale did? For me, I really love the Telltale model of games. I do feel it was very unfortunate. Like, when The Walking Dead hit big and they really started to rise, that was the best and worst thing that could have happened to Telltale.
Yeah.
And I hope we get a good ending to the Walking Dead game storyline. I hope. Whoever's doing that, I forget who it is. But whoever it is, hopefully they do it justice. Yeah, and then we can end the chapter off right. Because, I mean, who else does games like that? Life is Strange does, but after the first Life is Strange, I feel like that's been not as popular either. I'm not sure who else really does that kind of game.
Yeah, to be honest, all the games I think of, they're all just Telltale games.
Yeah, so with Telltale being gone and Life is Strange, I know they're still doing stuff. I know their episode 2 of their game is releasing somewhat soon. But at the same time, like, that kind of game has quickly died off because the main company doing it is gone, and unless the people that were a part of that spread out elsewhere and encourage other developers to make games like that, it's going to become a lost art, and I really hate that because that kind of game, I love a game where it's not, oh, most of this is filler combat, like a Batman Arkham or an Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
There's a lot of combat filler. Half of the game length has a lot to do with the amount of combat filler, and I don't like that. I enjoy the games, I love the stories in the games, but the combat filler is my least favorite part of games like that.
Yeah, you feel like it's just sort of being shoehorned in, and you're just like, well, it's almost there just for the sake of being there. It doesn't really add anything to it. Maybe
Exactly.
It adds an extra bit of playtime to it, and at the end of the day, I'd rather have a shorter game than a game that's adding stupid extra time doing nothing.
Keep in mind, I'll spend dozens of hours a week going through Skyrim places and just going in a cave, clearing out this cave, and
Yeah,
just
and saying
exploring.
that,
But
yeah, I think I spent one playthrough of Skyrim where I decided that I was going to fill up a house with every single book I can find. That was fun when I got to the mage place.
I want to read all the books in Skyrim. That is a goal. When I start streaming, I want to do that. I want to find and read all the books.
There's a few mods there's actually a couple mods, which and I recommend this because I did the same thing on a playthrough, not on stream because I think I would bore my viewers because I'd get too into the reading and I'd just go really silent. But that's just the kind of person I am. I like when I read, I go silent. But they had like this mod where you can it tells you which books you have and haven't read. But by the books that you have read, I'll look like normal books, but the ones you haven't read are like glow. They all glow.
That would be great. I'd really like something like that. That helps you keep track of it at least.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, God, I wish I had this when I was playing it on the PlayStation.
Yeah, I played Skyrim. I have two versions of Skyrim. I have the original Skyrim, no DLCs attached, on the Xbox 360. And then for Christmas, I was gifted on the PlayStation 4 Skyrim Special Edition that includes all the DLCs and such. Man, there's a night and day difference between Skyrim on the 360 and Skyrim on the PlayStation 4. Loading times was such a big deal on the Xbox 360. And on the PS4, I mean, occasionally you may have to wait a few seconds, but most loading screens are nothing.
I started on the PlayStation 4, and I never really noticed that thing about loading times. And, like, I went from the PS4, and now I've got a PC version of it as well, and that's what I primarily play. And, like, to me, they're about the same between the PS4 and the PC, mostly because the PC I probably have a few mods which slow it down a bit. But, like, I remember reading the other day someone complaining about the loading times in games, and I'm like, if games take less than like 20 seconds to load, what are you complaining about? Like, I feel like you all forget about how long it used to take for games to play. Like, a PlayStation 1 era, 5 minutes later, hey, the game's working.
Yeah, that gave you time to go get a drink, go to the bathroom real quick, maybe get a snack.
Yeah.
That was your opportunity. Speaking of games, I'm not really too big into Far Cry, I'll be honest, but I really want to play the Far Cry games, and I checked out the story trailer for the newest Far Cry game, New Dawn, and I've noticed Far Cry is beginning to do what Assassin's Creed did, and people are responding the same way that they felt with Assassin's Creed. Assassin's Creed went to yearly, and that from my perspective is what Far Cry has done. They're doing yearly now, and that's not the way to make people love you.
I don't know, like, I've seen, like, I haven't actually played a lot of the Far Cry games, but, like, my understanding of the Far Cry games is it's essentially like a first-person shooter. You go around collecting stuff for your base and, like, making enemies and what's the opposite of enemies? Allies. That's the word I'm thinking of. Allies and stuff. And what, bit friendly in a video game? Never. And
yeah, never.
Like,
just play as a bad guy.
You play as a bad guy. I wish I could. Why isn't the okay? I don't mean to like. I'll get back to Far Cry in a minute, but when is there going to be a game where I can play as? I want a Pokemon game where I can join Team Rocket. That guy asks you on the bridge, "Oh, do you want to join
Fire
Team Rocket?"
Red. Yes. I want the option to say yes. Like, let me join you. I'll join you right now. Let's just do it. We don't have to fight. I'll join you.
I want to because and the one with Team Flare, I think was like is that X and Y or black and white or something? I don't know. It was one of those two, but like where you got the option to join Team Flare, but it's like pretty much the max amount of money you can have. And if you don't have that money at that point, he'll be like, too bad, so sad. Where? I want to have that money and be like, yeah, actually, I do have the money. Here you go. Let's see what happens. But I don't know. Anyway, Far Cry. Yeah, I don't know. Like I saw the trailer and I fell in love with the visuals. I loved the whole contrast of like the whole nature overtaking everything. like beauty in this little tiny section, this tiny, tiny like utopia of the world. And then all of a sudden, everything goes to shit because everything is already shit. It's just that no one realized they were there.
Yes, I completely agree. I feel like I want to play the Far Cry games. I don't know if you have to play them in a certain order, like if that really
Nah,
matters too much.
nah, they don't. From memory, and again, I haven't really played them. I've watched people play them, but they all
You're
seem
an
to be
expert
like
on the subject.
standalone. Yeah, sort of like Fallout, where like they you can play them standalone because they don't really intersect, but they're in the same sort of lore.
Yeah, that's my favorite way. Like, okay, I get into a game in 2019, but they have games dating back like 12 years. Okay, like with Far Cry. So let me play this game. Oh, I really enjoyed this game. Let me try out this game from a
Yeah,
few years ago. And I like that kind of experience. It definitely helps bring a new person into the fold without being like, oh, I've got to play all these games first. It's like someone that's just getting into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. You have like 20 movies to watch.
yeah. I do not. I haven't seen half the Marvel U movies, but like I think I'm safe in the fact that I've grown up with comics and everything else, so I know most of the characters and everything else.
I really love superhero movies, but I'm not someone that's read the comics or have any interest in reading the comics. Like, if I had a physical copy of all the comics for free, I would read them, but I would not go out of my way to pay money for comics or even don't do piracy, but I wouldn't even go that far. I wouldn't put that
Yeah.
effort in either. Uh, I really enjoy the movies, and I understand why some people will be like, "Oh, this movie, it was an entertaining movie, but it didn't follow the comics, so I hate it." I understand that reasoning, but that's
I
just
think it's
not
silly.
me.
I personally think that reasoning is silly. Like there are so many different adaptations of things, and if it's an adaptation of something you don't like, that's fine. But if you don't like it purely because it didn't follow your preconception of what this thing is, then like no, kind of get off your high horse a bit. Like, do you mean like, for instance, you say, "Oh, I don't like the movie because it didn't follow the comic adaptation." Which comic adaptation? All the comics over like the past 50 years have all gone on different tangents and different routes. There's like 20 or 30 different canons for the one comic series. Like Spider-Man, you can use like Spider-Man. There's like 20 different versions of Spider-Man and what happened with them. Or Aquaman, one of my favorites. There's so
I
much
love
different
the
things
new
that happen in
Aquaman.
just so much stuff. So when people say, "Oh, I don't like this because it didn't follow this one comic," if you didn't follow another comic, I don't know. But yes, I like the new Aquaman too. I watched it the other day. Like
The
I think
dude that plays it, perfect.
Jason Momoa. See, I like Jason Momoa, but I also think he can't act. But like it works for the role. I think he's playing like when I watch the role, I see him playing himself. The entire movie, he's just being himself. He's not really acting. He's just being himself. But it works.
Yeah. And that's all that matters. Like, he may not be best for other roles, but for the role of Aquaman, I think he's gonna nail it going forward.
Yeah, I hope it. I hope he does a good job for the going forward. Because as somebody who loves Aquaman and has always loved Aquaman, like even like before the whole Jason Momoa thing, like I have like a whole Aquaman shop with all the comics and all the like figurines on it and everything else. I just hope it does well.
I've always
And
been
like
a person that's Aquaman over Batman. I've always felt Aquaman could be the better than Batman.
Aquaman knocked. There's a comic where Aquaman literally knocks Batman out.
See, I feel like Batman gets a lot of praise, but and people get these scenarios with Batman, but there's one key thing. If you take it away from Batman, he loses all of his fights. Remove his time to prep, and he's done.
Yeah.
Cause
Oh,
that's his
he's had a lot of
superpower.
training.
He
He's had a lot of training.
Yeah, he could beat
But
up someone
like,
like Hawkeye or someone like that, but if you put like
yeah,
the Incredible Hulk at his doorstep and he had no clue that Hulk even existed, Batman ain't surviving that fight.
yeah, yeah,
And
exactly. I
so,
think.
go on.
Oh no, I was just gonna say I think that like our Batman has like it's got too much praise because of like and he is a very beloved character, and then people get blindsided by their love for characters, and they just kind of don't realize that your character would get annihilated.
Exactly, like Aquaman, he wouldn't be the top of the superhero board either, but Aquaman is good at his section.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's kind of all that
you
matters.
put him in the middle of a desert. Like, canonically, you put him in the middle of a desert, and he's gonna suffer. Majorly suffer. Whereas,
he won't be able to call any of his friends.
In one iteration of Aquaman, he has a hook shot for a hand. He could still impale you through the chest with that.
Ouch.
He has a literal hook shot for a hand. I think at one stage he also had a magical water hand, which I think coincidentally he did find in the desert.
That is very interesting. See, that, on one hand, like, I know what I said about comics earlier, but what you can do with comics... What you can do with comics is super interesting.
Hmm.
And like with Spider-Man, for example, we've seen 3 different Spider-Mans on movies in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
And some people say one Spider-Man's better than the other, but for me, personally, there are things I like and dislike about every version of Spider-Man that we've seen on the movie screen. And each one of them has the potential to be great. It's just what they do with it going forward. Because with movies, it's like, you can't make these rapid changes like you could on a comic, necessarily. You can't suddenly go in this new direction.
Yeah, exactly. Because with comics, like, especially because it would take, like, a good, I don't know, 30 to 40 comic volumes to make a movie. So it'd take too long to sort of, like, push it away to do something else, whereas in a movie, it's just a movie.
Exactly. And so it's just like, okay, well, you just gotta see what they do. It's kind of like with TV shows that adapt off of, like, a comic book, like The Walking Dead, or maybe a show that does it off, like, a book, like Game of Thrones. It's just how you adapt from one platform to the other, because the way people experience a comic or a book or something like that is very different from how you watch a show or a movie or something like that, or play a game.
Yeah.
You experience things in different ways, so you have to do things in different ways and change things up.
Yeah, especially I think with the book to movie thing, because books you rely completely on your own sort of, like, imagination. And you have this preconception of what something is, and then all of a sudden it's not that on the movies. Not to mention, you can fit, and it's the opposite thing with the comics. Like, comic to movie, you can fit so much more stuff in a movie than a comic. But book to movie, you can fit so much more stuff in a book than you can in a movie. Because you've got different, like, with a book, you can have different, you can jump from different perspectives, you can put in more detail and everything else. Whereas a movie, you can't really do that without it being, like, too harsh on the editing or too, like, jumpy in the narrative.
Very true. And so it's just like, okay. And it's, as you said, it's hardest to do it from a book to a movie because a movie is rarely, very, very rarely, ever going to top what your imagination had for the book.
Yeah.
It's basically an impossible task. So the final topic I have, which may be super short, maybe a discussion. Have you heard of Disney Plus?
Disney Plus. See, this is what gets me. Australia is so behind in all the bloody streaming services. I'm assuming this is a streaming service with all the Disney stuff on it. Well, guess what? We don't even have Hulu in Australia. So everyone's like, oh, you should watch this thingy on Hulu. Well, I can't. We've only just recently gotten Netflix, like, in the past.
Why is this?
Because it's Australia. We're a continent. We're a floating island in the middle of nowhere where it hits to, like, 40 to 45 degree weather, and everyone's like, "Oh, she'll be right, mate. Let's go throw an egg on the road instead of by the way, no one says shrimp on the barbie. Yeah, instead of shrimp on the barbie, it's egg on the road, mate. Let's go throw an egg on the road and have some fried dinner. Delicious, nutritious."
But see, if it was me, I would be pitching to like Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, like, these are people that have to stay indoors at times because it's so hot. You want to give them a platform to watch your stuff, and they'll do that when they have to be inside.
But see, they are bringing it to Australia. They are slowly bringing these stuff to Australia now. Like now, I don't know if you guys have Stan, but we have Stan now. We have Netflix now. We have Crunchyroll and all the other anime stuff because like, Australia used to be one of the highest like when they were looking at people who pirated movies and stuff. Australia used to be the highest one because we didn't have our streaming services. Now we have streaming services. I think it's gone down quite a bit.
You didn't
Like,
have legal options to consume these things.
Yeah, exactly. And if you don't give people the legal option to consume the thing, and everyone else gets like 3 or 4 months beforehand, of course you're going to go, well, this isn't fair. I'm going to go get it online where it's readily available. I personally don't like pirating. I haven't done it since I was like 18, so I haven't done it for like 10 years. Oh, for like 10 years. But like sometimes you go, well, it's like it sucks. Because you want to watch the things, like even movies. Half the time, movies come out before, like in other places before we hit Australia. But like, I'm going on a bit another tangent here. For instance, Pokemon Go. When Pokemon Go came out and it was released in Australia before America, Americans lost their shit. I saw so much hate at Pokemon Go and at Australia and how, oh, this is not fair. Why is Australia getting it first? Rah, rah, rah. I'm sitting there thinking, this is great. We finally get to experience something first. I loved it. And I thought the irony of the hate of how dare someone get something before we do hilarious. Because
if someone deserves to have stuff first for something, it's Australia.
Like, I don't care who has what first, especially if it's only a couple days. And I think it was only like 2 or 3 days, maybe a week at most, where they had to wait, not even. And like, if it's that short of a time, who cares who gets what first? It's when it begins to get to like, 2 or 3 months. That's when it begins to get frustrating.
Exactly. So, hypothetically, if y'all got Disney Plus, would a Disney Plus streaming platform be something you'd be interested in?
Me personally, like, if I had the kids over more often than not, like the niece and nephew, I probably would get it. But at this stage, I've already got Netflix. I've already got Stan. I've already got Crunchyroll. I feel like I don't need to add another step to that right now. I think I'm pretty happy with what I do have. And if I really, really wanted to watch a single Disney movie, like, I mean, I know that, I imagine that if the Disney Channel, like the Disney sort of streaming service came out here, they pull it from the other things. Like, I know that they pulled a lot of their stuff from Netflix. But in Australia, they still have a lot of Disney stuff on Netflix, and they also still have a lot of stuff. Like, I think there's like so many Disney movies on Stan. I think there's like almost every Disney movie on Stan at the moment. So I can go watch Stan instead. But like, until they completely pull those stuff from the other streaming services and make it completely exclusive. And if they did make it completely exclusive, I almost wouldn't get it out of principle. Like, I can understand like the idea of it. But unless you're giving me, like, The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, I probably won't get it.
Great show.
I know, I'm sitting there thinking, I don't care, I enjoy that show. Like, if it had, like, the old school Disney classics, like, like, That's So Raven and what's the one that Hilary Duff was in? What was the Hilary Duff show one?
I don't know.
Her show.
I watched all those shows, Hannah Montana, Wizards of Waverly Place. I watched all those shows. Yeah, I was about
to say Wizards. Wizards was a little bit after my time, but I still enjoyed it. Like, if they had stuff like that, I'll probably be more inclined to get it because, as much as I disagree with some of their practices, I do really enjoy those sort of shows. So I'd watch it for those shows. But if it was just the movies, I wouldn't bother. I personally wouldn't bother if it was just the movies.
That makes a lot of sense. So, your answer is, it really depends what they offer.
Yeah, pretty much.
You're the most on the fence out of everyone I've asked.
Well,
everyone else has said no. Everyone else says no. It's been a complete no verdict. The only other person that said maybe was, oh, if I had kids and the kids wanted it, I would do it that way. But as of right now, my answer would be no. That was the closest to a yes we've gotten.
Yeah, see, so the closest to a yes I would get is if it had all the like actual Disney Channel shows, and yeah, I could imagine giving it a trial and seeing how it went. But if it was just the movies, then no, I couldn't be bothered.
Makes a lot of sense. Please tell us where we can find you.
Oh, yes, sirree. Okay, so I am primarily on Twitch these days. I stream um 5 nights one week, 6 nights another week, so like alternating Fridays. And you can find me on twitch.tv/ MaidMama, MaidMama. And I'm also on Twitter, but I do have a oh, that's a hard one to like pronounce. So it's maid __mama. Because some person took the Maid Mama in person, and they're inactive, and I've been trying to get that account for ages, but just can't quite seem to get it.
One
But
day, when
there.
you grow big
Those
enough, you're gonna get it.
Oh, I'm just like, because like they tend to like get rid of the inactive accounts, so I'm waiting for it to be like completely inactive. I messaged Twitch, not Twitch. Do you know what I hate? I both Twitch and Twitter. Whenever I try and talk about one or the other, I always mess it up because they both have the first same four letters, TWIT. So
Yeah,
it's
they're
like
too similar.
Twitter. But yeah, so Twitter is maid__mama, and Twitch is just Maid Mama.
Everything will
Yeah.
be in the description down below. Make sure to check her out. Her streams were very entertaining. I enjoy them. And especially what she did before this podcast on Twitter. That was also very entertaining. I mean, who else is going to be like, oh, maybe I should try cooking an egg on the pavement and stream that on social media?
How would Steven start that conversation? I think we were talking about, you're like, oh, I want to talk about how hot is this. I'm like, yeah, it's pretty hot. You can probably cook an egg outside. You know what? I'm going to go try that. Be right back.
Yes, exactly. This is the quality content you're going to find if you go check her out.
I also
Make
have a
sure to leave
chip
a
that's about 5 months old on my desk.
make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe for the next episode of Best Says. And if you want, everyone, you can go also in the description and find the Patreon and the quest mode for Best Says. And if you want to go into that, you can. No worries though. But we are out of time. Peace out, everyone.
Bye. Thanks for listening.